So use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. On Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the widest array of content here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're the first to know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Switzer. I'm the Clydesdale, and we have one of our favorite all-time guests on for her third time with us, Matilde Garnes from Norway, two-time CrossFit Games athlete, IF3 World Champion in 2022, and so anxious to catch up with you. How are you, Matilde?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
So before we get into like the pleasantries, yesterday there was a huge announcement. And it didn't look huge because a lot of the season kind of stays the same for you. As we go through the open 3 weeks, we go into quarterfinals, now 25% instead of 10%. So much bigger field. And then that's where things go off the rails, where Europe lost 20 spots in semifinals.
Yeah.
So after having about 24 hours to think about that, what kind of impact do you think that will have on your season next year?
To be honest, I haven't looked really good at all the new info. I was just reading something about it today and some yesterday, but yeah, the biggest change was for the semifinals. And for me, I think it's better to lose some spots for the semifinals than lose some spots for the games, of course. But I think for some athletes, it would be harder to have the same off season like during the open and the quarterfinals as you could this year. For me, I know like top 60 in Europe should be pretty okay, even if I'm not in my best shape ever to qualify for the semifinals. But with only 40 spots, if there is like one really bad workout with a big weakness, I think I need to do very well in the other workouts to actually qualify for the semifinals. So I think you have to like prioritize the quarterfinals more than this year because of the missing spots. Yeah.
So here's one of the subtle pieces, and forgive me if you haven't looked into this much, but because they're now saying that the quarterfinals are an extension of the open,
Yeah.
and that they're going to make it more accessible for that 25%. Now we had complaints.
Yeah, I meant the semifinals. Sorry.
Right. But the quarterfinals are going to be more accessible so that, and more people can participate. Last year, the 10%, the lower part of that had a hard time doing the workouts that were announced, and they're going to open that up a little bit more. So that means that like the high skill items that the elite athletes can really separate themselves for are not going to be at least at the beginning of workouts.
Yeah.
Does that make it harder to qualify for a smaller semifinal?
I think like there are more people in the quarterfinals. So if you have a really bad workout, it can be harder if you have some weaknesses that shows up, because like in the open, I don't even know if I was top 60 in Europe, like because there's so many people on the leaderboard as well. So therefore, I think it can be harder to qualify for the semifinals since there's only 40 spots for the semis.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. I haven't even processed it all myself, and that's my job to kind of look into all that stuff.
Yeah,
But
same.
it seems like there's some subtleties, like programming for the quarterfinals is going to be so important.
Yeah.
To make sure you get the best 40 in Europe. And what blows my mind is that Africa and Europe have the same number of semifinal athletes, yet the level of athlete in Europe is far superior to that in Africa. Not picking on Africa, same with Asia, same with South America. But Europe is just a known old school CrossFit country or continent that has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So that's what bugs me. I think Europe got the shortest end of the stick in this whole change. So that's where I just wanted to get your feelings on that. We'll go away from that, get back to more fun stuff. So when we first talked to you, you're going to your first games 2 years ago. You had great games. You finished top 20. Then you had an off season that was, by some accounts, like an incredible off season. Podium at Dubai, going to Madrid on a team, Zalos Games, great finish. You just did a lot of stuff in the off season, and then you get to the CrossFit season. And would you say that you didn't meet your expectations at the games?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I was struggling with some stuff after all the competitions in 2022, but I think I recovered pretty well for the semifinals this year. So I was really happy about the semifinals. Placing like top 6 in the one of the hardest fields was really good for me. I think, yeah, my expectations before semifinals was like if I even could make it to the games, I would probably be like 9th, 10th, or 11th. So I was super happy with 6th. But then I did my training for the games, and when we arrived in the US, I didn't feel good from day one. So I had big expectations and just disappointed myself, and my body didn't collaborate with me. So yeah.
And we've talked, you've made that trip several times back and forth to the United States, Wadapalooza, different things like that. And you always like to give yourself some extra time to acclimate.
Yeah.
Did the acclimation just not happen for the games, or did you legit get sick?
No, that was better this year. So I felt better. Like after just 1 week in the US, I felt like I had acclimatized pretty well, I think. But then I just started feeling bad. So I was just starting to get sick. And I was after the games, like 1 or 2 weeks, I think. So I don't think it was me arriving too late or anything for the US. It was just my body didn't want to.
So you work all year, you get all this extra competition in to give yourself all that experience, and then you get sick at the games. What does that do to you emotionally?
It's really hard, of course. It's like you've been working for it for such a long time, and it's the biggest competition during the year. So you just wish it was like a better timing, but it's never a good timing. And I think the body is it's more easy to get sick when you're in that time of the year, when you're prepping your body for a competition and trying to peak your shape. So it's always a risk. It is. So I think I pushed too hard on the pre-camp when I started to feel bad. I just kept training, feeling like, but I have to train because if I don't train, I wouldn't be ready for the games. But I should probably just have skipped some workouts and recovered more, I think.
So you have a pretty cool camp around you with that whole CrossFit Oslo and Krista and all of those people. Did anybody give you advice when you started to get sick, or did you just kind of keep it to yourself?
Yeah, I talked to my coach, of course, that I was tired, and we did adjust the training a bit, so we were training a bit less than I was supposed to do. But I also really felt like, okay, is this like mentally or I didn't want to complain just before the competition because I was already there. I had traveled for a long time. I've done my training. I had my hotel for the games, and I was like, I'm not going to withdraw anyways. I'm like, no matter if I have fever or anything, I'm not going to withdraw. I'm going to do my best, get some experience, lower my expectations, and then I was like, does it even matter if I tell everyone? Like, I had the mentality that I was thinking if I tell people I'm feeling bad, I would just feel even worse. So I kept telling myself that no, I'm okay. It will get better, and it didn't. But I still had like an okay time because I knew for myself that I could have done more if I was feeling better. So yeah.
Is there a stigma associated with not complaining? If you tell people that you're not feeling well, that will translate into you making excuses.
Yeah, you can feel, yeah, sort of. I think, like, of course, maybe if you tell your close people, your support system around you, I don't think that's I like my coach wouldn't have felt that it was an excuse, but like I didn't want to go on social media telling I was sick, or like it can feel like an excuse, and I know it isn't, but I know also that people are struggling with their own things. I guess there were someone else in me that didn't feel like their absolute best during these games, or had some injuries and things to just fight through. So yeah, it's always hard. Like, do you want to tell people? Do you want to keep it for yourself? Do you want to withdraw? Do you want to continue to do your best? Because I was really scared of regretting if I withdraw, but also I kind of regret that I didn't, because I was done for such a long time after the games. So, and I think it feels worse to get cut and then having to watch than like taking a good grown up decision for yourself before the competition. But also it's better to regret doing something than regretting not doing something, I think.
Yeah, I like that. So you're saying that when you push to try to make it past those first cuts, it actually set you back after the games for a period of time.
Yeah.
Wow. So how long were you down and out after the games where you couldn't train, um, couldn't do what you normally do?
I've actually just started. I had 3 weeks now with my normal training routines with 2 sessions a day. But I struggled with something during the games that I had to have a like procedure, a small surgery for, which is like quite private. But I that was also something that um, affected my performance this year, and I found out later after the games. So that's why I've been out for a good time. So I haven't been sick for like 3 months, but I've been through some stuff, and now I'm getting back to it. So yeah, it feels really good, and it's always nice to have an like kind of you understand for yourself why things were like they were. But I'm really motivated to get back to work and start building back up.
So, and I will completely respect your privacy on all the stuff that happened, but from a perspective as now a full-time athlete, professional athlete, you have fans, you have people that are watching you. How hard is it to go through something privately when you live a more public life now?
Um, it's hard. It is, but or it's not like not going through it, but maybe trying to like hide it and keep it for yourself, because people are asking, "Are you training?" And there's also, yeah, we have sponsors. They want many posts from training, and maybe I didn't even train. Like I had to post some old videos, and just everything feels harder to do like honestly or by myself. But I have really nice people around me and my boyfriend and everything. So like going through things were okay. It's just harder because people ask and people share on me, and that's just really nice. It's just some things you wanna keep for yourself and just get back later and then communicate with the fans and people around me. Yeah.
Was as being a fan myself of you,
Thank
you've
you.
always been like very open with your fans on social media about all
Yeah.
the stuff. And so when you go quiet, it's very noticeable.
Yeah.
And then for you, it's got to feel like you're not being authentic, like, but you have to keep this private. So it's this battle in your head, like, I want to be transparent and let my fans know what's going on, but I got to keep this private.
Yeah. It's a
So,
balance.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, and the big thing is like last year, you were doing every event when the off season started, Madrid and Rogue and Dubai and then this year, like no qualifiers, no anything. So it's a stark difference from 2022 to 2023.
Yeah, it is.
How
But I
much
will be
so
back there one day.
so if Matilda is completely healthy, do you enjoy doing all the off-season stuff?
Yeah, I do. I really like to compete. That's what I love about this sport, but I think, I might enjoy it a bit too much. So I learned in 2022 that it was a bit too much, especially with all the traveling. I think that was maybe the worst part because jet lag for me is something I struggle with. I think just like doing the same amount of competitions in Europe and Norway would have felt better for me, I think. But just long flights and sleeping routines and everything gets kind of fucked up. So, but yeah, I love compete, and a healthy me loves to compete. I think also like it's not fun to compete when you're not feeling good, but I still enjoy being at the competition floor with people cheering and just getting the experience in. I think that's something I learned over the past years and from every competition that, okay, I'm not in my best shape every day of the year. So some competitions has to be like a good experience and practice. Yeah, but I love to compete, so I will be back.
And in 2022, you were a top 10 games athlete. You're probably getting invites to things that never happened before. It was all new. And you got to travel the world and see so many different things. And
Yeah,
it's hard to say
so
no to that, right?
yeah, you get to experience really much. I was only top 20, not top 10, but top 10 is my big goal. Yeah.
Yep. I knew I knew that. I don't know why it came out that way. Maybe I was just wishing it into existence.
Yeah, me too. I was just like, should I just leave it? But maybe people were like, she should say something. But yeah,
Yeah.
top 10 is my big goal, so I'm gonna keep training for that.
So you have this goal. You're going through this off season where you can't train like you've been training. How hard is it to let your body recover, which you know is the right thing and is going to get you further in the long run and stay out of the gym for a while? How hard was that?
It's of course it's really hard, especially watching all the other athletes starting to get back to training. That's been maybe the worst part, I think. Not only on social media, but it's hard just being at the gym doing like easy stuff when you're surrounded by all the good athletes. And like I love watching my friends. I love the community at CrossFit Oslo, but I also have to be honest that it's been hard holding back uh, and listening to my own restrictions and my doctor's restrictions while everyone else keeps pushing hard. And yeah, that's been maybe the hardest part. But also when I first took the decision of like now I have to have some months off, and I knew I had to, then it's easier when you just made a choice, like, or you don't have a choice actually. So it's been easier just knowing every day instead of like waking up every day feeling, okay, how does my body feel today, then I think it's harder. Now I knew, like, okay, 3 months, then you're back to it. That's kind of motivating as well.
How important was it for you to go to the gym and be a part of the community during that time to keep that routine and the same stuff you would do if you were healthy? Was that important to keep that up?
Yeah, it was. So a good mix between, like, I was home to my family in northern Norway without a CrossFit gym, just like being with my family, doing some like bodybuilding, pumping at a normal global gym, like just doing a run outdoor or just walk. And then coming back to Oslo, it was really important for me to be a part of the community, especially now that I'm a full-time athlete. It felt like really weird just sitting at my home, watching TV. Like, it's not me, it's not my lifestyle. So it felt good just going to the gym, do some mobility, do some easy bike erg, and do the things I could do. But also I did train, like I went to some classes, just because that felt maybe a bit better than being surrounded with all the top athletes all the time. And just like, yeah, going to a class for 60 minutes, getting to know some new people at the gym that we never get to see because we're always done training when they arrive. So just joining a team wood on CrossFit Oslo Saturday, it was fun. Just doing something else.
Yeah, I can't imagine being just the regular class athlete and getting partnered up with you.
Well, I wasn't in my best shape, but yeah, it was like fun to do it as well. And I think people at the gym maybe appreciate it as well. Like, we're always taking a lot of space and attention, I think. So it's as much as it's their gym as much as we're ours. Yeah.
So what you're telling me is you did some bodybuilding, and now you're all jacked up now. Got
Yeah.
muscles on muscles.
I'm starting to feel much better now, and I'm really motivated. So yeah, I'm happy to be back, and I'm training regularly now. So I'm looking forward to competitions and training every day. So we'll see.
So last question about all this, and when you look at the games and you look at the programming, were there workouts that came out at the games that you were like, dang, if I was healthy, like that was my jam?
Yeah, actually, like I think it's easier to see it that way from the spectator area. Like when I got cut, I think it's really easy to think that way. But this year's programming was really good for me compared to last year, like 22, because there were less pressing and a lot of pulling. There were a lot of running. And the 5K, it would have been maybe my best games workout ever because I'm a good runner. And it was just pulling, 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 and like no strict hands and push-ups, not too many squats. The 1RM lift was good for me. Like, I'm not the strongest in the field in like base lifts, but I'm to be one of the weakest girls. I think I lift pretty okay in the Olympic lifts. So it would have been fun doing that programming healthy, but like Saturday and Sunday this year, I actually didn't like want to be out there. So I kind of enjoyed watching a bit because I was like so done. So I didn't want to be on the competition floor.
Yeah, I will say, as someone who's watched your career, I was surprised because I did think that a lot of the programming was right up your alley.
Yeah.
And when I saw you down in that bottom 10, I was like, dang, there's got to be something. And so I'm glad we got to talk and kind of figure all that out.
Yeah.
So now you're back to training. Is there a target that you're looking forward to competing again, or are you waiting until the open?
I might do Dubai, but I have to like feel how the body is for the next few weeks, and probably I might start with doing the World Championship in functional fitness. Just it's because it's in Norway, so it's just a good competition for me to start with no traveling, and I can stay at home, and yeah, just it's not a big risk signing up, because you don't have to travel over to the US and then you even don't know if you feel good or bad. And maybe with a Palooza, but I just have to feel how everything is. And I have some big goals for the games, but I think I have like me and my coach, we have some big goals for the 2025 season, because now I know I've had some months without training. I might be a bit behind, so I want to have more experience, try to cover my weaknesses, get stronger, and then like really go all in for the 2025 season, like to place good individually. And we'll just see about next year. I just have to take it a bit step by step, I think.
So you say like the IF3 World Championships and you say Dubai. In my mind, there couldn't be anything more further apart than those two competitions. Because
Yeah, I know.
IF3, you know kind of the base structure of what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Dubai, you have no idea what they're going to throw at you. And they're kind of known for at least one extreme event.
Yeah.
So does coming off what you're coming off, does that scare you at all that Dubai could throw something completely crazy at you? Or does that excite you if your body's feeling good?
If I'm feeling good, I think it's exciting. Like it's fun. Like you just have to show up there and do what they say. But because of that, that's also why I'm not sure if I'm going. Because it's easier for me to know that I can handle the IF3 volume. Like I know there's 6 workouts. Some of them are really short. It's not a big volume. It's only one long workout, and the other ones are like quite short, and it's only 3 days, so it's just easier to prepare to. But that's what I like about CrossFit, that it's like a bit you just have to expect everything. You have to be ready for everything, and I think that's fun. Just not right now.
Right. And that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, because you have to take things more cautiously as you're going this season, like Dubai just seems so extreme. But
Yeah.
it may be just how you feel in that moment. And that's still what, a month away? Yeah, a month
Yeah.
away.
Month
So
away.
so during this time, what did you lose most? Did you lose most like your cardio in your engine, or did you lose more strength in your time off? What's coming back slower?
The strength. Yeah.
Okay. Because you've always
So
had a good engine.
yeah, and I think maybe that's why it's coming back sooner as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good that that's coming back, because I think engine's harder to build. I mean, strength just takes time.
Yeah.
Engine is one of those things that like could take decades if you don't have it.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's
So
good that that's coming back sooner.
yeah, and I just have to keep building my legs.
How much do you think the travel contributes to your recovery? So like you say Wadapalooza, but that's actually a pretty good travel for you. And is that the limiting factor, not the events?
Um, yeah, but like, of course, the events as well. I think with the Palooza is maybe more heavier weights and less gymnastics and stuff than Dubai. So I think Dubai probably will fit me better as an athlete. And same with the traveling, it's a shorter trip. But I might. It looks like I'm doing team with Lena Richer and Annika for Rudapalooza. So it's just nice to have. I think it's a good start, like to have fun, do it with some other girls, and like get the year going. Yeah, like instead of, I think December and January are like, that's 1 month. So for me, it will be my body will probably feel much better in January. So yeah,
So you see Elena Richter and Annika Greer?
yeah,
Wow. That's a good team.
yeah, I think so. We're gonna have
And
fun.
that'd be a good step back to, because you're limiting volume because you're on a team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Annika's I've known Annika since she was 16.
Oh, yeah, she's
She's
a really nice girl.
Yeah, she was one of the first guests we ever had on our show way back in the day. And yeah, that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. So
Um, so how does that work? Like, does one of the teammates start calling people, or do you're just at some place and you start talking, or?
well, me and Lena, we are training at the same box and live in Oslo, both of us. And Lena knows Annika pretty well after Madrid and a trip to Miami. So it was just went like that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, because I'm sure, like, like Noah and Chandler hang out, they're best friends, whatever. Like that,
Yeah.
that's pretty obvious how it goes down. But with and Wadapalooza's, I think their 3-person team is becoming more popular than the individual.
Yeah, actually. So I think it will be fun to do some team stuff and a nice way to get back. Just like, I think it's always more enjoyable and maybe more fun. Like you have some other athletes to share your ups and downs with.
And that's
Yeah,
kind of how you started your career, right?
yeah,
So it's a little taste back to how you got started. Do you think being on a team when you started your career helped you become a better individual?
yeah, absolutely. Because it gave me some opportunities to train with the best athletes when we trained so much together. And at that time, I was living alone, or not living alone, but I was alone as an top athlete in my city or gym. So then I traveled around and trained with the best athlete, and that, I think I learned a lot from the other teammates. Now that I'm in Oslo, I think like being individual here feels like a big team anyways, because there's so many good individual athletes and coaches and everything. So if I had lived here when I did team in 2020, it would probably been more the same. But I was training so much alone at that time, so I think I learned a lot by doing it.
It's hard for me to picture you training alone. One of the things that I think that so big in the States right now is Taylor Swift dating a football player here in
Yeah,
America. And it's like, oh, all over the news and all that kind of stuff. But she has these like girl squad parties where
yeah.
like they hang out. And when I see you, I think of you as having a girl squad. And it's just like a group of friends that, are your besties. They're who you confide in, they're who you hang out with, they're who you have fun with. And you always seem to be finding some way to have fun.
Yeah. I'm really social, so I like hanging out with people.
How important is that to your training, to like get away from barbells and kettlebells and boxes and just go have fun with friends?
It's really important for me. I think it makes me relax more. Like I think some athletes can feel like they are not recovering if they do a lot of social things. But for me, it's a good balance because I'm kind of recovering mentally when I'm hanging out with my friends. But of course, I'm still trying to make sure I eat enough and I go to bed early enough. But if you just plan good, I think it's not hard to manage to be social even if you're an athlete. So it's just takes some planning and good friends that understands that you have to go home early or can't go out party or stuff. But yeah, it's really important for me, and that's something I've been better at this season. Like when I moved to Oslo to be a full-time athlete, I felt like I had to be such an athlete that I like couldn't do social things after 7 p.m. and I like had to go to bed at 9, and like I've been better at just like doing more things that I want to do. And for me, I've enjoyed CrossFit and training more.
So I think the other thing that comes across with that group is the fun you guys have, and it comes across with your sponsors, because a lot of you are sponsored by the same people. So like Noco, you're always drinking with somebody else in your photos and your Instagram posts. But I have to ask you a question about one of your sponsors, and I'm going to try to pull it up here. Just give me one
Now I'm
moment.
getting nervous.
So it's on your Instagram. You posted it. It is, oh shoot, I should have had this prepped. It's with this Neva,
Oh, the ice bath.
the ice bath.
Yeah,
There
I
are
think
moments where you try to get as this. Here we go. Where you get multiple people in the Neva pod, ice pod.
yeah.
How many people can you fit in one of those?
I don't know. What do you think? It's room for one or two more there, or
Well, if you weren't so tall, I would say pretty easily 3.
three? Yeah.
If you were shorter, maybe 4,
Maybe four.
maybe.
But yeah, you can see how much more fun I have when I did it together with my best friend instead of like further up when I'm doing it alone. That's more boring.
Well, and I think like it comes across as much more authentic for your sponsors, and probably why you have so many sponsors, because you are so authentic with your posts.
Like including my friends in my
Right.
sponsorships. Yeah.
Exactly. So you've become a full-time athlete. How important is it to have these sponsors to support what you're doing?
Yeah, it's really important. Like we always compete against all the other like full-time athletes, especially if you go individual to the CrossFit Games. So then it's hard being that one athlete that have to work between workouts or something like that. So it's really important with all the support I have from my sponsors to be able to do what I love and chase my dreams.
And you were a physical therapist, correct?
Yeah.
So how do you have plans to ever go back to that once your career's over, or have your dreams changed?
I'm not sure actually. I think I want to use some of the things I've learned and like be a physiotherapist in some way, but maybe like in a bigger picture, helping maybe athletes with different kind of things, with injuries, like as a physiotherapist, with nutrition. I'm also a nutritionist, and with my experience as an athlete. So I'm not sure if I'm going back to being like only a physiotherapist, but I know I want to work with health and training, sports, and with people. I really love helping other people and making other people reach their goal, even if it's like learning their first bar muscle up or get injury free or like do some rehab after a surgery or with some nutrition things. So I want to go in that direction, but I'm not like 100% sure.
So are you still an affiliate owner?
No, I actually sold out this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you've had that experience as an affiliate owner. You've been a coach.
Yeah.
So all that makes sense because you've done it on a smaller level. But now like, so, and I think we all assume because you're all there in Oslo, like everybody's close. And so I'm going to make that assumption. You have someone like Krista Holta that retired and then, but stayed in the game as a mental coach. When you look at that, does that show you possibilities for kind of what you want to do after?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way she has been like included in the CrossFit community after she retired, I think now she's a role model in that way. She's always been a role model for us as an athlete, but also what she's done after she retired. Because I think it's like if I was going to retire and then start in a job at a hospital as a physiotherapist or something, it would have been like a really big change. So I think just being in the same community and like at least a bit, I think that's really good for us when we retire, because I think it can be hard to retire. Like I'm not looking forward to that day
And
because you might feel like you lose some of yourself, I think, like your own identity.
yeah, I know, and I know this isn't about me, but so I was a swimmer. I swam in college, and when I retired, I was lost,
Yeah.
like in a bad way, and I gained a lot of weight, and and it was CrossFit that kind of got me back out of that. Because I didn't back when I retired, there was no CrossFit. There
Yeah.
was no competitive outlet, right? So, and the cool thing is, like, you can compete in CrossFit for the rest of your life. They have they have things all the way to 65 plus. It may not be at the level you're used to today, but you could do that. What's funny is when I actually interviewed Krista right before she retired, and she told me that her goal was to become a mental um, coach, and to see it come to fruition was so cool.
Yeah. And
Because
she's
I got
done so much more as well. Like she's not only a mental coach, she's a coach. She had the Krieger programming, and yeah, she's also training really hard. So yeah, it's really good to see.
yeah, and so now we've wished this into fruition too. So so when you retire someday in like 2035 or something, then we can watch you go into all that as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Um, you mentioned your boyfriend. So how long has that been going on?
No, we've been dating for like half a year or something, bit
Okay,
more.
cool.
Yeah. So we live together in Oslo now, and we're both CrossFit athletes. So it's really nice to have a partner that like understands what the other one is doing and what dreams we have. So we're training together and recovering together. So it's nice.
Is he an elite CrossFit athlete?
Yeah, he was at the games this year as a team,
Okay.
and he's also on the national team in Norway. So we've been friends for many years.
Yeah. You have to realize for us in the States, when you say he was there on a team from Norway, that doesn't narrow it down much for us because you guys so many teams.
Yeah, on the CrossFit also blackout team.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Very cool. And it's got to be great to have someone that just understands what you're going through
yeah,
and the day-to-day grind of what you guys are trying to accomplish.
yeah. It is. So we can
And you
chase
get have
some
a,
dreams together.
and you have a built-in cheer squad.
Yeah,
Like he can cheer for you at events, you can cheer for him.
yeah,
Um, I can't remember who said it. I can't remember, but they said like when you have that one person at the end of your lane cheering for you, it makes all the difference in the world. And if you want to be successful, make sure you have that one person that's at the end of that lane cheering for you all the time.
yeah. That's really true.
And they were saying it could be your mother, it could be a brother, a sister, or a boyfriend, or a husband, or a wife, whatever. But you just have to have that one person that's always there in your corner.
Yeah, I feel very lucky because my family, like my mom, my dad, my brother, and my boyfriend is like really supportive. So I'm really lucky.
My co-host saved me. It was Haley Murillo that said that. Yeah, she's the one that said that. Thank you, Jamie. So, yeah, and she's coaching Haley Adams now.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So, so yeah. Well, what is the outlook for this season? You said that you're shooting for 25. So what is the realistic expectation for Matilde for the 2024 season?
I haven't like decided my goals because I just wanna see how everything goes and start enjoying training, enjoying competing, and see where I'm at. Because yeah, I don't want to have like too high expectations for myself and then get disappointed. And I also want to hurry slowly, like to get back to things. I know I'm gonna hurry because I'm just like that as a person, but I also want to do it slowly. And I think for me right now after everything I've like been through, I think it's a bit easier to be careful enough if I'm not setting too high goals. And like, okay, if I set my big goals for 2025, I know that I have some time. Um, but of course, if I feel super good in a couple of months, or yeah, I think I just have to wait and see. But I'm kind of enjoying it as well. So I have some big goals. It's just I just want to hurry slowly.
And you have the advantage of, like, for an elite athlete, the season does kind of start slowly
Yeah,
and then kind of ramps up. So you get to have an indication of where you are, because you making top 25% is not a difficult task,
no, it should
right?
be
So you can
fun.
kind of like warm up, and then everything starts at 0, and then you go to quarters, and then that's where it kind of like starts ramping up, and you are going to have to test and see where you're truly at.
Yeah,
Um, well, this has been fun.
yeah. It's always nice to catch up.
Yeah. Um, I wish I was drinking wine with you, but it's really early here.
Oh, I promise it's not wine. It's only soda.
Oh, oh, okay. Well, it looked like you were relaxing having wine.
Yeah, could have, but like I'm trying to get back on things, so wine in the weekdays is not maybe the best idea as an athlete.
Yeah.
I'm hurrying slowly, but not that slowly.
Okay.
So I'm going for soda. We have like a really good Christmas soda in Norway.
Okay. What makes it Christmas?
Um, it's called Christmas soda, or like julebrus in Norwegian, and it's only here in November, December. So it's
Does
like
it
you can
have like,
only buy it at Christmas times. So that's why I just make it Christmas.
does it have like spices in it that makes it different, or
No.
no?
Or it's just like um, champagne soda kind of.
Okay.
Or no, it's not like that. It's hard to explain. It's like
Okay.
brownish, brown or red. So it's different types, but they're really good.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
cool. Um, well, I think the last time we had you on, you were like in a Christmas sweater with
Yeah.
in front of a fire. So yeah, Christmas is important to Matilde. So we want
Yeah.
to make sure we get that covered in. And we're
Yeah.
only literally before I came on the air today, my daughter sent me Christmas music.
Yeah. Do you think it's
Because
a bit too early?
I think it's early, so she does it on purpose.
Yeah, it's a bit early. I agree. Like I
Yeah.
have
I
listened to
like,
some Christmas music, but it's not every day.
yeah, here in the States, we have Thanksgiving, and that's kind of
Yeah.
like once that's over, then that's the kickoff to Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like she already in her apartment, she already has a tree up, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. Well, you have to enjoy it while you can. It's acceptable in November, but in like February, it should have like been taken down. So it's better to start early, I think, if people want to.
yeah, for me, the older I get, the less decorations we put up.
Yeah.
Because it's just my wife and I now in the house, and so we just we do the minimal that just gets us in the mood, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Matilde. I hope to catch up with you soon again, and we'll be further down the recovery lane and kind of
Yeah.
get to see where we're going.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
And thank you, Jamie, for helping me out on this. We'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.